Yo, it's good everyone, back with another video. This is going to be a video about keyword research and the updated ways to do keyword research in 2026, right? Because this isn't 2016. It's not as easy as it was back in the day. There's definitely more advanced strategies that I want to discuss with you guys today in this video. So let's just get into the thesis and then we're going to start breaking down some more practical information. As you guys know with me, I'm always showing you, that course level source. I don't charge for this information. I don't care. I'm already making good money with the things I'm doing personally, right? So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. So smart bidding evolved, okay? So now Google reads intent in clusters, not individual keywords. This is very important because back in the day, a lot of emphasis was put on individual keywords, but now it's more about clusters, keyword themes, angles, and that sort of stuff, right? And you can just read here the old approach, find high volume keywords, plug them in. We still do this to an extent, right? But it's more so about the keyword clusters. So like I said, the new approach is intent clustering with 3 layers, right? Very, very important. So why is old research dead? So this is the shift, right? So first things first, as a lot of you guys know that are running Google, smart bidding has evolved drastically. Okay, even, exact match width time is going to go. Google's really forcing people to start using AI Max, for example, PMax as well, broad match, and that sort of stuff, right? So a tight string of broad keywords now gets interpreted, mapped to user behavior, and matched against intent, not against literal keywords, right? Google's very smart. It has God knows how many data points. Okay, so that's very important. Smart bidding has evolved. Now, shift number 2, buyers now research differently, right? Now with AI, AI is booming right now. Everyone's using it. People really approach Google and this approach, the way they do research and the way they buy a product differently, right? So they really want clarity on exactly what they want and what they need. Sometimes they're not even product aware or solution aware, but they know that there's something wrong with them, right? And again, this depends on your niche and product, right? So if they know there's something wrong with them, they are going to start searching for specific things, right? And we need to start matching these different pain points and angles with, how we're targeting our keywords, right? Furthermore, auctions are more expensive. I mean, this is obvious. It's the same as Facebook, just in general with e-com. CPCs are going up, more competition every year. A lot of people just joining the space, trying to make a quick buck. A lot of them are not going to be here for the long run, but it doesn't matter because, right now there's a lot of people just bidding. It's a massive auction house, right? So there's a lot of people just spending money on ads and, just competing in general. So with things like this, strategies like this, and go through my YouTube videos, I give out so much source. This is how you're going to outrank your competition and just absolutely crush it and dominate, right? And rank number 1 in Google Shopping and Google Search. And then, as you can see here, the old playbook, you can scale for 2 weeks, then collapse. And this is what usually would happen when you have a volume first keyword research strategy, right? So the game's changed. So what's important is actually understanding the 3 buying intent tiers, okay? So you have high intent keywords, you have ready to buy now. And here are some example queries: desk chair, ergonomic chair, best office chair, buy office chair online. So typically this should land on a PDP because these guys, it's high intent. They know exactly what they want. They don't need no education, right? They don't need no education. They're ready to buy. So don't waste their time. Just send them to a PDP. And this is typically used in standard shopping, PMax search. Just run that to a PDP, right? And you can be a bit looser with the bids just because of how great these keywords are, right? So this is going to be your core. I like to call these the middle funnel keywords. And, this is my previous video, which I highly recommend you watch about search ads. This is one sort of a keyword cluster that we use to target, right? Now, furthermore, we have medium intent keywords, right? So this is more so, they're not high intent, but they're very close to being so, right? They just want to learn more, compare their options, see what's in the market. So some example queries: comfiest office chair, top rated ergonomic chair, great office chair under £500, for example, whatever price point that looks like. So these guys that are searching for these keywords, they usually, they're just in the consideration phase, right? They know they want to buy a chair, an office chair. They just want to see the options, the different brands, the different USPs that they have. So the best way to run traffic for these type of keywords is a listicle. A comparison listicle works really, really well. And that's something I've been noticing recently with Google Ads. A blog on advertorial, right? So it just depends on the exact keywords and who your competitors are in the market and the product you're pushing. But honestly, a listicle advertorial would work really well for medium intent. And then, it's usually search, educational page, and then you can run that to a PDP. And then, of course, you're going to be doing a bunch of retargeting as well for that. And then you have low intent. So don't spend a lot of budget on this. And usually this is when you've reached the ceiling for scaling. And this is how you're going to start, getting into that next level, right? So you can have competitor brand share. Now this is kind of similar to the comparison, like competitor conquesting. I talk about that a lot as a very good strategy. Office share reviews, Reddit, office share near me, right? So these aren't the best keywords to be targeting. I mean, competitor brand share, you could use some competitor conquesting, but these two, not really, right? These people are really just like, they're not really in the market to buy right now. So you can, ideally run that to an advertorial or listicle, just give them more education about your product. But these guys, you just want to go heavy with retargeting, right? That's going to be very, very important. So let's move on. The 3-step process, okay? So right now we're talking about office chairs. What you want to do is open a Google Keyword Planner. I still use it to this day. You can use tools like SEMrush. There's a few, but honestly, I just still use Google Keyword Planner. And remember, none of them are 100% accurate, okay? So these are just good for ideation. So yeah, open Google Keyword Planner, type the most generic version of your category. So for example, office chair, running shoes, your magnesium, gummies, whatever that looks like, right? Don't be too specific. Start with a broad keyword. That's going to be very good. And usually when you start with a broad keyword, you'll be able to see the search volume, right? Obviously, the more search volume, the better, because it means there's going to be a lot of keywords, more longer tail keywords related to that you can bid on. And then what you want to do is you want to start refining. So on the Google Keyword Planner on the right-hand side, you can, just refine your keywords. So you can uncheck competing brand names, and then you can uncheck product variants, right? So this is going to allow you to start filtering out keywords that you're not focused on right now, and it allows you to start categorizing by intent pools. Okay, so now you have your high intent keywords, your medium intent keywords, your low intent keywords. And ideally you want 5 to 10 keywords per tier, right, before you move on. So very important that you do research and you spend time doing research before you even think about launching a search campaign. It's the same with shopping. I always talk about in my videos, optimize the Google Merchant Center before you even think about launching shopping. But with search is make sure you're doing research on you're doing keyword research, right? And this, honestly, this video, after watching this, watch my previous video about Google search. And I'm not going to guarantee anything, but this is literally what we're doing right now to print for many of our clients, right? So there's a very high chance you'll print. If you have a good offer and you have good pages, I mean, you're in a very, very good position to, to make good money with Google Ads. So how do you refine the keyword list, right? So typically when you type in a broad keyword like these, you're going to get a lot of keywords, like 1,900, 3,000. I don't know. It depends on, the market and the product. A lot of them are irrelevant, right? But when you do start refining, you have 80 keywords, all ICP relevant. This is your gold mine. And a lot of them are going to be longer tail, not as much volume, but not a lot of people are bidding on them and not a lot of people are aware of them, right? So remember, in terms of refining, you want to filter by a few things: brand exclusions, use case exclusions, geographic locality exclusions. Like for example, office chair near me. These people are not really looking to buy online. They're probably looking to go to a store, check out the chair and maybe buy it, in real life, as opposed to online. And then product type exclusions, right? So let's keep going. And then negative keywords, very, very, very important, especially for newer accounts as well, but even on an ongoing basis. This is what's going to guide the algorithm, right? This is what you're telling Google, you're training Google. You're telling, hey, don't bid on these keywords. Don't even serve impressions for these keywords, right? So what belongs in the negative list? Your competitor brands, your product variants that you don't sell, informational queries, and then locality of model terms. So this is very important, right? If you have a high intent search campaign, you don't have all of these on the campaign level. I wouldn't recommend saying this on the account level because you're going to have different campaigns for different purposes. But on the campaign level, get rid of this. Have them all as negative keywords, right? So that way Google is only focused on your high intent keywords. Your quality score and your ad relevance is going to go up way more. And that's how ultimately you're going to start ranking high and get a bunch of good clicks, ICP clicks, to your PDP or listicle, whatever page you're running. So which numbers actually matter the most, right? So honestly, the more the better. And again, a big part of it depends on your niche, right? It's not like Facebook where it's pure prospecting. With Google, you are going to be limited by, how many people are in the market searching for whatever you have to offer, right? So 50,000 monthly is ideal, to be honest with you. It's great. It means it's going to be very scalable. 10,000 monthly is solid, right? And then the minimum is 1,000 plus. Now, don't be like, okay, it has to be 1,000, because believe it or not, you'll be surprised. And again, like I said, this isn't 100% accurate. Google Keyword Planner is not going to tell you 100% accurate, like the search volume, right? There's times where there's keywords that are getting 200, 300, searches a month, but it prints, right? Especially when you like tailor that with like a broad match type, right? Another thing as well is use 3 months change, not year over year. Year over year is just too noisy. Month over month is just more up to date, more recent. Buyers, consumer behavior changes all the time. So you want to stay up to date with that, right? And then you want to win on the feed, not on the bid. So this is kind of similar to, what I talk about with Google Shopping. But what you want to do is you want to refine harder, right? So what a lot of people do is they bid harder and they lose money. So they don't refine anything. I see it all the time. I've done an audit for an account yesterday, and it's kind of crazy. Like they had over 700 keywords in one ad group in one campaign, everything mixed together. And then they're wondering why performance is shit. I mean, that's why performance is shit. There's no segmentation, there's no refinement, right? So refine. The more you refine, the more you have the different intent, the better it's going to be, right? And this is important. The auction is won before the bid is set, right? Remember, Google is a massive auction house, and quality score is going to dictate how high you rank. So make sure that you have these things in place. It's going to be very, very, very important. Now, 5 principles. This is one thing I love to do in all of my videos and all of my presentations. I think it's just a good way just to summarize everything, and easy to remember as well. So I'll definitely recommend screenshotting this or pausing the video and taking notes. But first things first, start broad when you're doing research, and then refine ruthlessly, right? And now with the help of AI, it shouldn't be too hard to do this. You can download all of the keywords as a CSV file and then tell ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you use to refine it for you. But start broad, refine ruthlessly. And then remember, intent pools. 3 intent pools, but honestly, this is just a starting point. There's going to be way more than 3 intent pools. If you're selling like a supplement, for example, a health and wellness product, think about all of the different angles you can start researching, right? If your product solves a bunch of different pain points, think about the amount of keywords around that, right? So that's a gold mine right there. So research is going to be very important. Negative keywords are built in parallel. This is very important, especially whenever you launch a new campaign, especially for search, right? So make sure you want to have this in place. And then use 3-month change, not year over year. Like I said here, year over year is too noisy, right? And you want to stay up to date with whatever's working well in this moment. And then lastly, win on the feed, not on the bid, right? So a lot of time people they just overthink, like, which bid strategy should I use? Which match type should I use? Honestly, like, it's going to be simple. Maximize conversions or maximize conversion value. And then, exact phrase, broad match, like it just depends, right? It depends on a lot of things, but the most important thing is actually having good keywords and having a proper campaign structure, right? With segmentation. And then there's a graduation phase. Typically we start with exact and phrase match, and then we evolve to broad match, right? With smart bidding. So in a nutshell, that's like what we do. But yeah, look, that is the video. That's the presentation. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, definitely reach out to me on Twitter, ecom_amin. If you want this all done for you, definitely book a call with me using the link below. I'll be happy to, do a free audit for you and just discuss your brand and see the opportunities with Google. And yeah, other than that, I'll be back very soon with another video. So yeah, catch you guys soon.